Hello, not in the right shirt. That's much better. Welcome back to Packers 101, and today is for you fantasy football fans. Today we're going to be going through my top 5 sleeper running back candidates for the 2023 season. I wish you all the best of luck in your leagues this upcoming season, and hopefully you can target these guys somewhat late in the draft and they'll have great success for you. Where fantasy seasons are won is with your sleeper picks. The obvious picks are easy. The later rounds is where it gets tough, and this is where we're going to help you out today. All right, at my number 5 spot for running back sleeper candidates, we've got Jamal Williams, running back who was signed by the New Orleans Saints this offseason. Now, Jamal Williams last season for Detroit, he had a great year. He broke 1,000 yards and he had 17 touchdowns, beating out Barry Sanders' single season touchdown record for the Detroit Lions. While in New Orleans, he is the second running back to Alvin Kamara. I don't think this will change the fact that Jamal Williams has a very similar season. I think that Jamal Williams will load up in the touchdowns again near the goal line. I think the closest thing to call Jamal Williams to the Saints is how Mark Ingram was for them. I think they're going to fill very similar roles. Only difference is I think that Jamal Williams will be a very good pass catcher out of the backfield. Mark Ingram, I don't think was anywhere near as good as Jamal Williams will be doing that. So I see the Saints having a lot of production with Jamal Williams. I see Derek Carr checking down to him a lot. I see him getting a lot of carries. I see him loading up on touchdowns. And right now, Jamal Williams on DraftKings is ranked as running back 40. They say there's 39 better options at running back than Jamal Williams. That just simply isn't true, in my opinion. I think Jamal Williams has a great fantasy season again. He averaged 14 points last season. I think he's near the same amount. So to be ranked at running back 40, that's so disrespectful. Definitely Jamal Williams. I think if you pick him around the middle of your draft, fourth or fifth round, if you can get him there, I think that's great value. Depending on how many people are in your league, you can make a judgment call on that. Up next, we got Rachaad White, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Rachaad White got as many opportunities as he did last season because Leonard Fournette wasn't as good as we thought he was going to be. For whatever reason, people say Leonard Fournette got out of shape. Whatever it was, Leonard Fournette was not as good as he normally is. At his best, Leonard Fournette is a top 10 running back in this league. But Rachaad White, he had a very good season when he took over. Currently on DraftKings, Rachaad White is the 27th best rated running back in terms of fantasy. And I think that's a little low for him. I think he probably belongs somewhere around 15. Being the starting running back in that system, I think that he's going to be a security blanket out of the backfield for Baker. I think that offense won't be as much deep passing and it'll be more short intermediate throws and check down. So I see him loading up on receptions. I see him getting a decent amount of carries. I see him getting a lot of yards. He only had one touchdown last season. I definitely see that number increasing. I think they're going to use him a lot more towards the goal line. So I think he's going to load up more on touchdowns. So Rachaad White's claim to fame last season was the amount of receptions he had. He had 50 receptions in our PPR league. That's obviously great. And I think that on the ground, he's going to get a lot more as the primary back. Leonard Fournette is not there anymore. He only had one rushing touchdown last season. That number is definitely going to go up. So I think he has potential to finish out as a top 15 ranked running back in terms of fantasy. So I think that if you can pick him up in the later rounds, he'll be well worth it. Up next at number 3, we have Khalil Herbert, running back for the Chicago Bears. Now, the thing with Khalil Herbert is he is electric back there. I think that he is great as a receiving back. He is great running the ball. He just has a burst. He honestly reminds me of Tariq Cohen, if you remember his prime for the Chicago Bears. I think that Khalil Herbert as the feature back with him and Deontay Foreman. I also see Deontay Foreman having a good season, but I kind of had to pick one here with the Chicago Bears, so I'm going to go with Herbert because I believe he's a little bit more explosive. So right now, Khalil Herbert is ranked as the 41st best running back for fantasy on DraftKings. Way too low for him. Way too low. If you can steal this guy in the later rounds, big win. Big win. I see the Bears offense as a whole being a lot better than they were last season. Justin Fields showed a lot of potential, but now they're putting pieces around him. They traded for DJ Moore. He's a great receiver. They got the best offensive tackle in the draft, in my opinion, in Darnell Wright. So I think that offense is going to block a lot better. They're going to pass a lot better. And as a result of that, they're going to run a lot better. We all know what the Bears can do running the football. Justin Fields is great. Having Khalil Herbert carry the load and having him be a threat in read option plays, I think that Khalil Herbert is going to have a great season along with Deontay Foreman. So having them as the 41st ranked running back, so disrespectful. So disrespectful. So I would definitely try to steal this guy in the mid to late rounds. I think that's a great place to get him, and I think that he has potential to become a top 15, top 10 running back in terms of fantasy this season. At number two, another NFC North player. It hurts to give credit to NFC North players that are not the Packers. But at number two, we got Alexander Madison. Now, for people who have watched Alexander Madison these past few seasons, he can play. When Dalvin Cook is hurt or he's forced to step up, Alexander Madison can make great plays. He's just never been the starter because he's been outshined by Dalvin Cook, who we all know is a great running back. Dalvin Cook, one of the best running backs in the league. There's no denying it. But Madison, he very much is a bruiser type running back. He can truck a lot of people and gain yards that way, but he's got a decent amount of speed to him too. I think that in his first season as the feature back, he's going to shatter expectations. Currently, he is the 18th ranked running back on DraftKings. I actually think that is a very decent spot for him. I think that he has potential to finish slightly above that, but not too many people are talking about him becoming the feature back in Minnesota. And then they have good players. Justin Jefferson, he's probably the number one ranked wide receiver right now. Kirk Cousins, well, I'm not his biggest fan. He's decent. And running the ball, I think Madison is going to have a better season than most people are thinking. So I would definitely take him in the mid to later rounds. If he can't wait that long, I wouldn't reach on him. But if he's available in the later rounds of your draft, I would definitely pick him up. And my number one sleeper running back candidate, another former NFC North player, DeAndre Swift. Now, DeAndre Swift last season with the Detroit Lions, objectively, it wasn't his best season. That being said, though, he did average 14 points a game, fantasy-wise, even with Jamal Williams, you know, breaking the load in touchdowns and all that. But now he is the feature back in Philadelphia. And for anyone who's watched Philadelphia, what does Philadelphia love to do? Run the ball. That's their forte. They like running the ball. They're damn good at it. They got a great O-line. And for DeAndre Swift to enter that team, I think that he is going to have a breakout season in Philadelphia. Not only do I think he's going to be great as a runner, I think he's going to be great as a pass catcher out of the backfield as well. That's DeAndre Swift's specialty, being a pass catcher out of the backfield. And in an offense like Philly, who is one of the best offenses in the league, I think that he is going to have an amazing season, both rushing and receiving. Now, the Detroit Lions, while they are good, that offense is nowhere near the level of Philly's offense. Objectively, they're not. I like the Lions. I love what they're all about. Love Dan Campbell. They are not as good as Philadelphia's offense. So I see DeAndre Swift, honestly, finishing as a top 10, maybe even close to top 5 running back in terms of fantasy this season. If you saw my bold predictions video for the NFC East, you saw what I predicted for DeAndre Swift. I think he goes over 1,400 yards, both rushing and receiving. I think that he can average around 20 points a game, fantasy-wise. So I would definitely pick him up around the third or fourth round if you can, because he's ranked as the 20th best running back on DraftKings. That's too low for him. I believe that is way too low for him. I believe that he is going to have a breakout season, so trust me, take Swift whenever you can after the third round. I think he'll be well worth it. Anyway, those are my sleeper candidates for running back for fantasy football. I wish you all the best of luck in your leagues. I hope that this video helps you make those picks, and I hope you all have a good day. See you next time.